Bava Metzia, the Mishnah, DAF Beis, DAF Beis. This DAF is sponsored for Shalema, for Rus Bas Bashka. Shnayim Ochsim Betalis. The first law of the Mishnah concerns two people entering a courtroom, holding on to fringes of a garment, each one claiming it belongs to him. The law is that they both have to take an oath that they do not own less than half of the garment, and then the court divides it between them if it is possible, or they sell the garment and they divide its value between the two of them. This division, subsequent to the oath, is only when they both were holding the garment equally. If one held more than the other, he would be entitled to more of the division. The second point of the Mishnah is, if only one was holding the garment, he would be awarded the whole garment, unless the other could prove ownership by way of witnesses. So therefore, the intent of the Mishnah saying both of them holding on means that without that the law would be different. And they have to be holding on equally. The Gemara is troubled by assuming this case represents one claim. In other words, ani mitzasiya v'kula sheli. It seems redundant. Either ani mitzasiya or kula sheli would have sufficed as a claim. If both are necessary parts of one claim, they should be mentioned also together. Ani mitzasiya v'kula sheli. Why are the claims separate? Ani mitzasiya v'ani mitzasiha, kula sheli, kula sheli. The Gemara has two resolutions for this problem. Number one, the expression kula sheli indicates physical acquisition. Even in respect to ownerless items, the Gemara is teaching us that one's claim to it depends solely on his physical acquisition, not seeing the item first. However, stating also ani mitzasiha in conjunction with kula sheli indicates that any time, even when the term mitzasiha stands alone, it indicates physical acquisition, not just seeing. That's the first resolution. The second is that really they actually represent two different cases. One concerning a lost object and one concerning a purchased item. Both needed to be taught in the Mishnah to indicate a novel teaching that in both cases there is reason to impose an oath. Why? If we just had the case ani mitzasiha, referring to both of them finding a lost object, each claiming he acquired it first. The rabbis were not concerned about imposing an oath in that case because the liar rationalizes only because no one paid for it. He will not lie once under oath. Whereas concerning a purchase, the liar cannot rationalize even though the other claimant will not lose his money. He will lose an item that he struggled to purchase. The only solution would be yehei munach, until one provides witnesses. Therefore, the Mishnah tells you no. Even in this case, we do impose an oath. The second case, kula sheli, is concerning a purchased item. Each one claims he was sold the item, and he is the true owner. Here the rationale of the liar is the true owner can find a replacement for this garment, which is not the case by a lost object. Therefore, only regarding a purchase did the Chachamim impose an oath. That's what we would think. Therefore, the Mishnah had to tell us also the case of the lost object, that there also, in fact, an oath is imposed in order to divide the garment. Now, what about relying in the case of a purchase on the seller as who was the true purchaser? The seller is believed as two witnesses in two circumstances. If he is still in possession of the purchased item, he can testify who was the true purchaser, even if he received money from both of them. The second situation is if he is no longer in possession of the item, he can testify only if he received money from one person. Our case, of course, is where we received money from both. Ben Nanas, the Gemara tells us, is consistent with our Mishnah. The case of Ben Nanas is called Chen V'ni al Pinkaso. A shopkeeper is instructed by an employer to pay his workers. The shopkeeper claims he paid. The workers claim that they did not get paid. Ben Nanas allows them to claim their salaries from the employer without an oath. This does not contradict our Mishnah because it is possible that in our case they picked up the lost items simultaneously. Their oath could in fact be true. They both own no less than half, assuming they picked it up together. The same is true concerning the purchase. Perhaps the storekeeper could not decide who to sell the item to, and therefore he sold it to both. In the case of Chen V'ni al Pinkaso, one of them is definitely going to swear falsely. Another related machlokus is that of Sumchus and the Rabbanan, which the Gemara also explains is consistent with our Mishnah. The case is called Mammon HaMutul B'Safek. The Rabbanan hold that law in this case is Hamotzi Mechavero Lav Haraya. What is the case? A fetus found next to its gored mother. According to Sumchus, since we do not know the actual facts of what happened, the owner of the ox pays only half the fetus, and neither of them take an oath. According to the Rabbanan, he pays nothing. Also, neither of them take an oath. How do we reconcile this case with our Mishnah? According to the Rabbanan, the difference is, in our case, the disputed money is in the possession of both. So it is not a problem to award both a share as long as they swear. Whereas there, the money, in the case of Mammon HaMutul B'Safek, is in the possession of the owner of the ox. To take the money away from him without witnesses would be incorrect. According to Sumchus, that says you divide without an oath, there are three answers in the Gemara. Number one, the case of the questionable fetus, both our claims are uncertain. So the Chachamim could not impose an oath in that case. Our case is where they both claim with certainty that it's theirs. The second answer is the case of the questionable fetus, by requiring one to pay, could cause him a loss if the decision is incorrect. In our case, there is no real loss. It is a found item, or whoever does not receive the purchased item receives a refund. The third answer is the oath of our Mishnah is a rabbinic enactment, not a doraisa shvua, to prevent people from grabbing garments belonging to others and claiming it's theirs.